During this year's NBA trade deadline, the Lakers ended up making no trades at all. So now the question is, what are their options? Right now, Rob Pelinka has to do whatever he could to, of course, advance the roster they currently have, or simply just stay put. But let's be real, right now with the Lakers struggling for a comfortable playoff spot, even though they didn't make a trade, something's gotta happen. Immediately after the NBA trade deadline was announced that the Lakers made no moves, Adrian Woj tweeted that the Lakers are going to be very busy for the NBA buyout market. And for those out there that don't know the actual date, as of right now, every NBA team has until March 1st to, of course, waive players and even sign players for their playoff teams. And the Lakers are in that exact conversation. They're going to be very busy during these upcoming few weeks to do whatever they can to construct a new roster, to work within the buyout market, construct a new roster to, of course, be able to compete when the playoffs actually come around. With that being said, for this video, I'm going to be giving you a full breakdown of the Lakers and talking about potential buyout candidates that I believe that simply will be a great fit for the Lakers, and of course a realistic option. And of course the players I'll be mentioning today are realistic targets that the Lakers right now are very interested in. So if you're a big NBA fan and simply want to know what's next for the Lakers, you're gonna love this. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a very special episode of Easy Buckets. For those who are new, my name is Soom and I make basketball videos every single day. So of course, be a part of the family by hitting the subscribe button, turn on post notifications to not miss any of my upcoming videos. If you watched this video and you loved it, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. I'll greatly appreciate it. It would help with the channel a lot. But without wasting any more time, let's talk about some buyout candidates for the LA Lakers. One of the most popular targets is Goran Dragic of the Spurs, and during this year's NBA trade deadline, the Raptors traded away Goran to the Spurs in exchange for Thaddeus Young. The Raptors wanted more of a championship vet at the frontcourt position, and on Goran's perspective, Goran didn't want to be there, and the Spurs only got Goran because they got a first-round pick in return. And as of right now, they are working on a buyout, and it seems really realistic that Goran will become available. As of right now, there are a lot of NBA teams that are pursuing Goran Dragic because of his veteran leadership, his NBA experience, and of course his drive to an NBA championship. After going to the NBA Finals 2 years ago, Goran lost to the Lakers in the finals when he was on the Heat. And with Goran Dragic right now being 35 years old, he's gonna go to a team that he feels could actually win. Throughout his career, he's been averaging about 14 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. So of course, you can tell he'll be a great six-man or even a starting caliber player to, of course, close out games when necessary. And we've gotten news that Rob Pelinka has even called Goran Dragic's agent, so of course, when he becomes available, the Lakers are letting Goran know that they're interested. During this past summer, the Lakers signed Kendrick Nunn to a 2-year deal to supposedly be their backup point guard, but so far, Nunn has not even been available, which is why the Lakers want more of a veteran experienced point guard off the bench to of course come in for Russell Westbrook to be more of a floor spacer and a shooter. And with Goran Dragic shooting a little bit under 40% for his career at the three-point line, the Lakers are all in on Goran, and as of right now, it looks like the Lakers are prioritizing Goran as their #1 option. The next player on this list is talking about DEAndre Bembry, previous Brooklyn Nets, and of course during this year's NBA trade deadline, the big James Harden and Ben Simmons swap ended up getting DEAndre Bembry waived by the Nets, and as of right now has become more of a very popular two-way player via the buyout market. So far this year, he started in about 20 games for the Brooklyn Nets and was actually a beneficial factor to simply be a role player to play defense, guard the other team's best wing player, and of course shoot at the three-point line. Fun fact to note is that during this season, he's shooting a total of 41.7% behind the three-point line, a very efficient stat line and efficiency rate. And as of right now, the Lakers just want another body, just like DEAndre Bembry, to just hustle and play good perimeter defense. The Lakers have been very vocal this year that the signing of Trevor Ariza and Cam Bazemore has not really worked out, and with DEAndre Bembry being younger than both of these players and of course having more of a drive, his numbers speak volume to how much better he is than these two players the Lakers currently have, and I do believe signing him for the rest of the year deal would be an immediate upgrade as a potential off-the-bench small forward power forward player to just simply be a hustle man. If I'm gonna be honest, it was a big surprise that the Brooklyn Nets ended up waiving away DEAndre Bembry. There were other players on the roster that they could have waived. So I do believe this is a needle in a haystack. The Lakers are fortunate to have a player like Bembry available. Go for Bembry, he's looking for a championship contender right now. And I do believe right now he's the Lakers' second option behind Goran. The next buyout candidate is a former Laker, and that's Dennis Schroder. During this year's NBA trade deadline, the Celtics traded away Dennis Schroder to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Daniel Tice. Dennis Schroder is currently on a 1-year contract, and going into this summer, Schroder is going to be a free agent once again. For those who don't know, Dennis Schroder was a part of the Lakers roster last season, and during this past summer, the Lakers had interest in signing Dennis Schroder to a 4-year, $85 million extension, where Dennis actually rejected it because he wanted more money. And of course, as you guys can tell, it was a very bad move for Dennis. The Lakers ended up trading for Russell Westbrook. They had no cap space, and then of course he lost so much money and ended up signing a mid-level exception on a 1-year deal with the Boston Celtics. As of right now, Dennis Schroder has to show to the NBA his worth once again, because last season he was worth nearly $80 million. Going back to the same conversation of signing Kendrick Nunn in the summer, Kendrick Nunn has not been available for the Lakers, and that's why I do believe if they can get Goran Dragic, Dennis Schroder brings more of a reunion, but more like he knows the playbook of Frank Vogel, he knows how to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and would be a great point guard off the bench. Originally, Dennis Schroder was always known to being a great six-man. A few years ago on OKC, behind Chris Paul and Shai Gilgeous, Dennis was their six-man and of course their scoring spark plug, averaging nearly 20 points per game. After being traded to the Houston Rockets, there is a lot of rumors that the Rockets are going to waive him, and of course with that being said, the Lakers are heavily interested in bringing back Dennis Schroder for a veteran's minimum deal on a rest of the year contract. The next free agent on this list is talking about Gary Harris of the Orlando Magic, and as of right now, Gary Harris is in the conversation of one of the better 3-and-D players that could become available, but he's not available yet. Of course, I mentioned DEAndre Bembry earlier because he's available and he's easier to get right now, but on Gary Harris's perspective, he's on a pretty good contract, but the question is, when will the Orlando Magic waive him? Because so far, we're hearing nothing about them waiving him or even Terrence Ross. Gary Harris is known to being a 3-and-D player, averaging about 12 points per game this season and shooting a pretty good efficient clip of 39% behind the three-point line, but he brings in that veteran experience that was a part of the Denver Nuggets team that made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals a few years ago in the NBA bubble against the Lakers. Gary Harris has been struggling simply because of injuries. He's not been healthy throughout his career, but as of right now on the Orlando Magic, he looks healthy and looks ready to contend again for a championship team. With the Lakers needing a wing player to simply be a hustle man at a high level, I believe Gary Harris is better than DEAndre Bembry at this area, and the moment the Orlando Magic mentions waiving him, the Lakers are all in. During this year's NBA trade deadline, there was conversations that the Lakers actually spoke with the Orlando Magic about the availability of Gary Harris and Terrence Ross, which means the Lakers already have interest in these two players on the Orlando Magic. From what we're hearing, they're prioritizing Gary Harris because of his defense, and I do believe he'll be a great fit alongside LeBron James and Russell Westbrook on those driving kicks, and on the defensive end, be a beneficial factor to guard the other team's best player. And the last free agent on this list is my personal favorite, and that's John Wall of the Houston Rockets. I want the Lakers to get John Wall. During this year's NBA trade deadline, we heard news that the Lakers were interested in getting John Wall, but of course they had to end up trading away Russell Westbrook for John, and of course some Laker fans liked that. Most Laker fans didn't like that, but now, after no trades have happened with the Rockets and the Lakers, John Wall seems like he wants to play in the NBA, and of course a buyout could be coming. John Wall right now is on a very expensive $43 million contract, so of course right now the Rockets are paying him, but he's not even playing. During the beginning of this season, John Wall and the Houston Rockets made a compromise that they're not going to play him and focus on the future of Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. John Wall is going to be a veteran leader and train these guys during practices and of course help them develop, but as of right now, John Wall looks healthy. He's ready to go and wants another opportunity, and with him being vocal saying he wanted to be traded, he has no other option right now than to get bought out or simply just waste another NBA season and wait till the offseason to potentially not even get signed to a big contract at all. I would say on John Wall's perspective, the best thing for his career is ask and demand for a buyout. And with that being said, the Rockets make him available and then he plays the rest of the year with the Lakers maybe, and then of course show the NBA that he's healthy, he's back to his all-star form, and can still contribute at an NBA level. I believe this is something John Wall has to do, demand and request a buyout. And with the Lakers looking for more of a backup point guard, I believe John Wall would immediately beat Goran Dragic and even Dennis Schroder as a potential option. The Rockets have both Schroder and John Wall, and they might just buy out both of them, and if they do, I want John Wall to be the Lakers' #1 priority because of course he's a former All-Star and just wants to win, and the Lakers need someone like that off the bench to simply be a huge factor to run that second unit alongside Carmelo Anthony, THT, and even Malik Monk. John Wall is the #1 option via the buyout market. The question is, will the Rockets buy him out this season, or of course just wait till the off season where John Wall could just walk? So yes guys, this wraps up my video today talking about the complete breakdown of the Lakers' potential buyout candidates when talking about this season. What's most important to me is want to know your thoughts. Which of these buyout candidates do you believe is the best fit for the Lakers? And just another question, are there any other buyout candidates you believe the Lakers should target? Put your thoughts down in the comment section down below. But other than that, take it easy, God bless, and I'll see you all next time on Easy Buckets. Woo!